Hi everyone, welcome to episode 76 of the YarnderWoman podcast. My name is Melinda. You can find me as YarnderWoman on Instagram and Ravelry, and we also have a Ravelry group called YarnderWoman Podcast. Today is Saturday the 24th of November 2018, and as always I am coming to you from Perth in Western Australia. How are you? I hope you are doing really well, and I hope if things are not so great that they pick up for you soon, and I'm sending everyone a virtual hug for happy times or comforting times, depending on what's happening in your life. I am so pleased to see you. It's been a few weeks and I've got lots of lovely things. I've managed to finish a few things, I've started a few things. I've got some things that I started and finished since we last saw each other, and I've got a few acquisitions, which is exciting. I will get some video of little Smudge the puppy. He's much bigger now than when you last saw him, obviously still very small because he's just over 3 months old, I think. He's still melting hearts wherever he goes. We've been going to puppy school, so he's doing very well at that. And he's in a bit of a playful mood, but I've got him just over there chewing on a free-range pork snack. So hopefully that will keep him occupied, because he was previously chewing on the stand that I've got the camera on, and that means the noise would reverberate through the camera. Wouldn't be pleasant for anyone, so you're welcome. So what we do have coming, Brooching the Subject, finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions, and some prize winners. So I will put the timestamps for all the segments. So if you want to skip to anything, particularly if you didn't enter the prizes, that was the Jump on the Bandwagon knit along and the Mystery Lace Shawl Kit from Fiberific. You can skip those as well if they're not something that you are interested in, or for whatever other reason. So all the timestamps will be down below in YouTube and also in the show notes. Before we move on with the knitting, let's go and broach the subject. So today's lovely brooch is from a lovely friend. It's from Grace, who is Vanna Willamille, and you will no doubt know her as Grace from Babel's Travelling Yarns, her podcast and her yarn dyeing business. I was very happy to meet Grace when she was actually living in Perth for a few months, a couple of years ago now, and when she was in Australia she was in Perth for a little while, and after she left here, Perth, she went over to Tasmania and she bought me this from one of the local makers in Tasmania, which was so lovely. It's red, it's a brooch. So Tasmania, if you're not aware, if you look at a map of Australia, Tasmania is the separate island at the bottom, often called the Apple Isle because they grow a lot of apples there and it's kind of apple shaped. But yes, this is very special. So thank you, Grace. And I'll link to Grace's podcast, and I'll be mentioning several other podcasts throughout the episode. So as always, I will put those in the show notes as well. And the show notes can be found at www.yarnderwoman.blogspot.com.au. And I always link to everything that I talk about. If I've forgotten anything, or if you want more details on anything, just send me a private message through Ravelry and I will let you know. Now, shall we move on to the knitting? Continuing the red theme, I've just got my hair coloured today. I haven't had my hair coloured in literally years, and so I thought, it's a bit hard to see in this light, but it's red, so I'm having a red day, and I've got some more red to show you, so let's get on with that now. First finished objects, ta-da! My lovely socks in the lovely red. Oh, this makes me so happy. The colour red, I've mentioned it many a times before, but seeing red just makes me really happy. I know in terms of colour theory or behavioural theory, the colour red is, for passion or anger, and so sometimes people seeing red, it subconsciously unsettles them, but for me it very consciously settles me and calms me. So these are very happy finished objects for me. The yarn, you've seen them along the way. The yarn is One Twisted Tree by Danny of the Prairie Girls Knit and Spin podcast. Very sadly for the yarn community, Danny is closing her business. She's moving on to other things. So One Twisted Tree yarns will no longer be made. So I'm very pleased that I have this in my stash and that I've got these gorgeous socks. The colourway is And I Was the Prey. They were part of a previous Halloween collection. And then I've knit the Fish Lips Kiss heel, holding the main yarn plus some plain black yarn. I think it was Gumi 50 by Berger de France. Holding that double, so they're quite thick heels. And I love them. It's quite warm here. It's in spring coming into summer. You know, we're only a week off summer. And as you can see, I've shed the cardigan. It's that funny in between weather where it's cool, but yeah, the cardigan's gone. So I don't know if I'll even get to wear these this year. It is chilly in the mornings, but yeah, probably not. But anyway, I was knitting these at various places along the way while I was working on them. But one day I took them with me when I went to visit my mum, YarnderWoman, who's in a dementia-specific ward at a nursing home. She loves it there. I am visiting her tomorrow, so I'll try and get some footage of her to put at the end. But yes, while we were there, we were sitting in like a communal area. They've got tea and coffee, so we were just having a coffee, and there was some other people there. And another lady, one of the residents, was walking past in her walker, and she saw me knitting, and she just stopped and got the biggest smile. And she's no longer verbal, this particular lady, because there's people there at various stages. She's no longer verbal, but you could see the recognition and the light in her eyes when she saw the knitting, so I assume she used to do it back in her past. And so I was showing her, and you know, off she went, and she was sort of doing laps of the area. And then when she came back, she'd obviously forgotten that she'd seen me already, but again, her face lit up. So I showed her again as if it was the first time. So, you know, we could focus on the fact that sad she didn't remember, but it was wonderful. She got repeated joyous viewings of the knitting. It obviously made her happy, and it's very cute. Whenever we pass anyone, anywhere, YarnderWoman likes to introduce me to everyone, so I get introduced to people many times over, and it's quite lovely. So, yes. Lovely story to go with those socks, and they'll get folded up now and ready for next year. This FO I forgot to show you last time, and it's a little bit worse for wear now. It's a blanket for Smudge the puppy. As you can see, he really likes it. Oh, sorry. That's a bruise from Smudge biting me. I've got them all over. Cuts, bruises. Yeah. He's going through puppy teething. Thank you. I actually put a photo on Instagram of one of my bruises as a second photo. It wasn't the first photo, in case that, you know, makes people uncomfortable and they don't like looking at bruises for some reason. But yes, thank you. I got some good tips on things people have tried when they've had puppies, so we'll keep working hard on that. But yes, this was his blanket that I knit him. Sophie, his mummy, the Yarnder teen, my stepdaughter, she is Smudge's official owner, and she wanted me to knit him a blanket that we could bring him home in, like his first outfit from the hospital, so to speak. So this is I followed the Nana's Favourite Washcloth pattern, where you cast, it's a free pattern, you cast on 4, knit 2, yarn over, knit to the end, knit 2, yarn over, till you get as wide as you want, and then decrease to the other end. So it's kind of stretched out. This was using, it's 100% acrylic, because I thought for a puppy blanket, we don't need to use anything that's, you know, expensive. So it's 100% acrylic. It's nice and soft, but it's still acrylic, but that's perfect for a puppy. Easily washed, and doesn't matter that he rips it and chews it and loves it in the way a puppy loves it. So I can't remember which brand of acrylic it was. It will be on the show notes in my Ravelry project pages. Oh, sorry, there's a fly. We haven't got a doggy door yet, so the door's open, the fly's coming in. Probably don't care about that, but if I start flapping madly, not mildly, I was going to say wildly and madly, that's why. I had some coffee today. I haven't had coffee in a while, and I had some today. It's made me a little hyper. Anyway, this was pretty much the whole skein perfectly. I wasn't weighing it, because actually where I was knitting it, the Yarnder teen cut her hand just before we got Smudge, and she was in hospital for 2.5 days, and I was knitting it while we were there. While we were there, they cancelled the application for our dog, Smudge. Then luckily we resolved it. I won't go into details why. If you're in Perth and you're thinking of getting a rescue dog through any of the rescue facilities, do get in touch. I have some info and stories for you. Anyway, we got him, and he's ours, and he's perfect, and it's fine. So I was knitting this while she was in hospital, and even when we thought we weren't going to get him, I kept knitting it as sort of putting hope out into the universe, so it worked. Nice purple blankie, because he has purple harness and collar, so and leash, so we're all matching. We like to match here. Last episode I had several hats to show you, and guess what? I do again. So I'm lucky enough to have quite a substantial, there's quite a few colours of the Felici yarn by Knit Picks. I've picked some up along the way. Actually, I must say, I did order some recently because they had black, grey and red colourway come out. Christmas present that will come early, yes. Anyway, this colour is called Eclipse, and I really like how it's turned out, or the colourway. It's not that I did anything with the colours, but so the black in between, I think makes it look really good, and it sort of, you know, tones it down a bit, because this and the other one I'm going to show you are all for charity, so it's good to have different styles and different colours so that recipients, you know, can have a few things to choose from that they might like, so it's, you know, giving people a bit of dignity of choice. So I did, this is the, goodness, what's it called? Sockhead slouch pattern. Sockhead slouch hat. Yes. So this I was doing as part of our Jump on the Bandwagon knit along, which has closed, and I'll have prize winners later in this episode. And I think I did the 160, the normal stitch count. And then it looks like I've done the decreases from the Rubies in My Pocket pattern by Sally Jane Cameron. I say looks like because I did this a couple of weeks ago and I can't remember, but yes, they're much more rapidly decreased than in the Sockhead pattern. So that one's really cool. I'm happy with that. And then this one is a bit of a mashup of patterns. So this is again the Felici. This is the Sonora Sunset colourway. So you've got 3 shades of blue and then the 3 shades of your orange, red and pink. The blues you can sort of see here, yeah, nice sort of speckledy colours throughout the pale blue, so that's quite nice. This one I have done a rolled brim. I haven't snipped the edges yet. So I just cast on and started stocking it straight away rather than doing any ribbing. And that way it can either be with that tiny bit of roll from just the stockinette rolling up, with more of slouch, or the person can roll it up further, you know, it can be adjusted. I think I did maybe 140 stitches, something like that. Again, it's in my project page. And I was planning on doing the decreases as per the pattern of the Sockhead slouch hat pattern. And I can't remember if I did those or if I just did, you know, knit 6, knit 2 together all the round. Then I did knit 5, knit 2 together. Then I realised wherever I was out at the time and I didn't have any DPNs or a longer cable to do magic loop. And the needles I was using for the body were just a 40 centimetre one, so I could just go round and round, which is great for hat knitting, but it was too small to do magic loop on. So what I decided to do after I did a few decreases, so you can see it goes in at the top there, just starts shaping in. I then turned it inside out and did a 3 needle bind off as per, well, the Kit Kat hat pattern has it, but a 3 needle bind off is a 3 needle bind off. So it's sort of a mishmash, which I think is quite cool, sort of, you know, gives it a bit of tapering at the end there. And so, you know, you might get slight little ears, maybe. So, again, something different style, and very, very fun colours. I think it was very pleasant to knit, so I think it'd be very pleasant to wear. It's a jellyfish. It's not, but that would be really cool, wouldn't it? I might have to look into making a jellyfish. What these are, I've got 4 here, and they're just, I'm calling them imagination ropes. So I'll hold one up. Now, I may have shown you one last episode. I can't remember if I did. I had knit one previously, so forgive me if I have already explained it, but I will explain again in case you didn't see that, or in case I didn't say it, or just because we've got something to say now. So these, there are 4 because I'm giving them to a friend's 4 children for Christmas, and they're in, I suppose, the style of Waldorf or Montessori schooling, where there's a lot of focus on the child using their imagination, so toys not being specific, obvious things, something that they can use their imagination with. So with this, you know, you can do all sorts of things with a rope shape or flat, so very good imagination tool. And these are knit in Knit Picks Felici in the worsted weight. So the hats I showed were in the fingering weight. This is in the worsted weight. And the colourways I've used, this is Goth Kitty. So it's got 3 shades of grey, then 2 shades of pink and 1 shade of pink and 2 of purple, either or. If you can hear a clacking noise, Smudge has brought his free range pig piece over here. So anyway, this colourway I believe is Hibiscus. So nice tropical colours, yellows, purples, pinks and blues. This one is Spaceman. This is some neutrals. Oh dear, Smudge is trying to eat the other one. This is Spaceman, so it's greys and sort of taupe and a like a marble, light marble colour. And the last one, this is Hawaiian Shirt, and it's yellows, blues. There is a brown in this, but there's a lot of yellow and blue because I was actually using the end of a previous ball and started a new one, so I've got lots of ends, but that's fine. The colours go nicely. Someone keeps chewing the cable, don't they? Please don't. Okay. And they are really quick and easy, very effective presents, I think. They are 257 centimetres in the cast on because I cast the first one on when I was out somewhere and miscounted. So now they're all 257. And I cast on just over the normal needle, when I say normal, the needle I was using, the 4.5mm, and I cast off with a Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. Works in progress. If, by the way, anything seems disjointed and suddenly stops, it's because I'm trying to sort Smudge out from chewing on something. We will proceed. This one, oh, now he's in the curtains, or the blinds behind me. Never mind. Apologies if the noise is annoying though. This is a pattern called Seamus the Owl, and I have actually doubled the size, so it's usually a smaller pattern than this. This is the first of 4 toys I want to make for Christmas presents for my nieces and nephews. I thought about starting this ages ago and never got around to it. Then I couldn't find my 4.5mm needles that I needed, which are ones I've used many times before. They're plastic, I don't know where I got them from. Never liked the fact they're plastic because they're not as smooth, but as in they're smooth, but they're not as quick as metal. But you know, I was using them because I had them. It was then getting to the point where, yeah, time is marching on. It's December next week. I need to get this done. I can't find the needles. I'll just order some more. So I ordered some Chiaogu double pointed. Chiaogu is my favourite type of needle. I hadn't used their double pointed before. I'm really pleased they're quite light because I've had previous metal needles by, who does the sock croppers? Addy. I think the Addy ones, and correct me if I'm wrong if anyone knows, but the Addy metal ones are quite heavy, which doesn't work for me with my arthritis, but these Chiaogus are really good. And I got these from Fiberific, who sponsored one of the giveaways as well. So I bought these, that's not an affiliation or anything, that's just where I got them in Australia, and they're really good. So, as I said, this is bigger, so I doubled the number of stitches of the cast on, and then I'm doubling the number of rows to make it tall. So he's going to be quite big. Well, I say he. The pattern is called Seamus, which is generally a man's name, but the recipient can call it whatever they want. Quite good. It's got this lovely moss stitch, and that's like the owl's belly, and it's stockinette at the back. So that'll go up a little bit further, and then you bind off at the top, and it sort of makes like the pointy ears of the owl. And I won't be doing a face on any of the toys, so similar theory to the imagination ropes. I'm sure they're called something else when they're actual Waldorf toys, but yes, along the theory of that if you don't put a face on the toy, again, the child can use their imagination and have them do whatever they want them to do in the game. So really much enjoying that. This is Knit Pick Swish Worsted in the Green Tea Heather colourway, which is lovely. Last night I put on Instagram, I was knitting this while drinking green tea, and the colour matching made my heart very happy. So yes, because of my self-imposed deadline of getting it ready for Christmas, this will be finished next time I see you, and hopefully there'll be more animals as well. Next whip is kind of on hold for a little while. Rose City Rollers. So this was a pattern that was quite popular in the Jump on the Bandwagon knit along because yeah, they're a popular pattern. And I hadn't knit them before, so the premise is that, again, free pattern, you, similar to what I was doing with the hat, you just cast on in stockinette and just start knitting instead of doing ribbing, and they just roll down a little bit at the ankle. So ankle socks, fish lips kiss heel, and then I've knit till I've run out of yarn because this gorgeous yarn is Jinx Yarns in the Power Sock base in the Spirited Away colourway. And similar to One Twisted Tree, Jinx Yarns, Laura is no longer dyeing anymore. And that's a shame for many reasons and for many people, but I don't have enough yarn to finish the whole foot of this sock. This was left over because I knit a full pair of socks in this yarn. Well, they're originally going to be for me, but you may remember I knit 1 foot too short, and so I just gave them to my daughter. And I had 2 partial cakes left over, so that's why I've just knitted as much as I can. And I'll now just start the other one and see how far I get, because who knows, I might have used some of this left over for something else as well. Like I did knit the Sister Survivor squares that you would have seen several episodes ago, and I did use this yarn for one of them, so perhaps I used it out of this yarn, so I will have more, and then I might be able to get more on this foot and maybe have enough to, I don't know, we shall see. Because I guess if I don't have enough to finish the foot, I'm not sure what I'm going to do at the end, because I don't want it to be too glaring, but there are quite a few nice colours in there, including blue, and I'll show you the heel now. You can see there, it looks like so there's bits of blue in here, yes. There's more blue in the heel because I use this. This is Radia, and it's a specific strengthener for heels and toes, and it's like a lace weight. Let me see if I can pull it up there. And so you just hold it with the rest of your yarn. As I was saying with my red and black socks, I held the main yarn plus another sock yarn double for the heel, so it was very stiff to knit, very hard on the hands and quite thick in the heel. When I showed that several episodes ago, a lovely, lovely friend, Bibi Mouse, asked if she could send me some of this strengthening thread. And I said, oh, of course, let me know how much. And she said, no, I'll send you some. So, not just one, she sent me a whole box. She sent me 10 different colours. It's so unbelievably generous and so awesome. I'm going to be all set for heel colours. Heel strengtheners in different colours. So, I'm so spoiled. Thank you so much, Bibi Mouse. I had thought about doing one of the reds. There's several reds. How did you know that I liked red? So there's several reds, and I was probably going to use that one because this is quite an orangey red in the sock, and that would have looked really nice. But I decided on the blue just because I thought that would be quite fun to pick up the flecks of blue and just give it something a bit different. And I love how it turned out. Given it's stronger, but it's not that heavy thickness that I got when I was holding 2 fingering weight double. And I just love how it's turned out. I will let you know how I go with this. I'm going to concentrate on knitting Christmas things first, and then I'll go back to this and see how I go. I'm using this gorgeous chicken bag. This is from Bird Leg Bags, and it's got the eggs inside. This was YarnderWoman's. She was using it for her coloured pencils and textures for a while, and now she doesn't need it, so I'm using it, and it's very cute, and I love it. So I'll show you that again soon. As a lot of us do, I like to have a very simple stockinette project on the go. That would have been those socks, but as I said, I'm figuring out what I'm doing with the yarn. So I've cast on another hat, and it's also in Knit Picks Felici, like the other 2. I just find this really easy, just ready to go yarn because it's already in a skein. So you can just, oh, that's not looking too good, is it? So you can just pick it up and go. You don't have to wind anything. But in terms of, because it's for charity, it's, you know, machine washable. You don't want to use anything too delicate for charity knits because you don't know what people's washing arrangements or situations are going to be. And yeah, so it's really easy to care for, easy to look after, and those are the same things. We'll just keep moving. It's also very soft, so lovely to wear, and the colours are very vibrant, and they're going to be set as well because they're commercial, so not always, especially, you know, ready colours, but yeah, I think they're very good for charity projects. This colourway, I don't think I have the tag, but I think it's just called Sunset. So we had Sonora Sunset, now this is just Sunset. This is not a full ball or skein. I had used this to knit some ankle socks for my sister-in-law, and I'm thinking I must have had 2 balls of it because I can't imagine she's maybe size 6 foot, so I can't imagine I got 2 socks for her and still have this much left over, so I must have had 2 balls. I didn't weigh this before I started because my plan is I just did the cast on rolled brim, so just stayed straight stock in it. I believe I cast on over a 4.5mm needle to just make it really loose. Generally what I'll do is cast on, Smudge is running, hello darling, what's happening? He's snuffling. That's the thing, you never know if you can hear what I'm hearing, but there's snuffling, he's attacking a towel, and he's off again, so if he comes back I'll try. So when I do a cast on, then I want a stretchy cast on edge, such as for socks or a hat. I will usually cast on over 2 needles. So for socks, it'll usually be over so I use 2.25mm needles and I'll hold them together and cast on over that. When I've been doing the hat, switch on 3mm needles, I'll generally just grab another small needle, so a 2 or a 2.25, and hold them double. When I was casting this one on, I happened to have a 4.5mm close by. So I just used that alone for the cast on. So you can see it's quite, maybe you can see, it's loose, trust me. Then I transferred over to the 3mm. So I think I cast on 154 maybe for this. And yep, it's just gonna roll up. It'll find its happy place. And beautiful colours. So you got purple, just roll down so you can see. Colours are showing up, the lighting's a bit funny even though I've got my normal lights on. As in, when I say normal, my studio lights, but it's maybe just the time of day. But yeah, it's got a lovely sort of eggplanty purple, a rusty red, a lighter red, bright red, and then orange and yellow. So really beautiful, and I think it gradiates up really nicely. I'm just going to keep knitting till I get towards the end, and then I'll probably do a 3 needle bind off, so it'll be a straight across, just so then I can use up as much yarn as I possibly can. Because I'll just keep going till there's literally just enough for that 3 needle bind off. And that'll be that. So yes, that's just my on-the-go project, because at the moment I'm knitting that owl on the double pointed needles. If Smudge is in a feisty mood, it's easier to have something like this so that if he launches, you know, he's excited and, you know, it's easy to just put that down rather than have DPNs everywhere. And I've got that in a Christmas bag because it's a week off Christmas. This is by Suburban Stitcher, and it's awesome. It looks like a blackboard or a chalkboard. The holly on it with the grey instead of the green leaves, I just love it. And then a fun candy cane. So yes, that's what I'm working on right now. I've put the gorgeous shawl I was knitting, the one by Aroha Knits. I've put that on hold for the moment just because I really need to focus on those Christmas presents. And this hat is, as I said, my easy stockinette or my commute knitting. And yes, do the Christmas knitting, Melinda. Marsha from the Fairy Little podcast is doing Project UFO, which is, you know, get everything off your needles before the end of the year. As soon as I finish those Christmas toys, I would like to have a look at some of the things on my needles. Other than that lovely shawl, which is just a recent hibernation, I can't even remember what else I've got on the needles, so I'll have a look and see you know, the logistics of getting that done, and do I still want to finish them? You know, it would be nice to clear the needles. I don't think I will clear them all because, but, you know, given I can't remember how much is on the needles, maybe I will. Maybe there's only a couple of things. Yes, I would like to clear the needles. If it happens, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be annoyed at myself. So I'll show you next time. There's a lot of I'll show you next time, isn't there? Acquisitions. Exciting. I was given so generously from the designers the pattern Penny Pearls pullover by the wonderful Vicky, who is Devixter Designs. That's a really lovely pullover with pearl rose, and it's lovely, really simple and beautiful. And then the My Favourite Brew, checking the word order there, right? From Jen Sheelan, and that, she said, is based on her love of beers, brew beer, but you can also translate that to coffee and tea or whatever you like. So perfect. And both of them have said that they will sponsor a future giveaway, so that's so generous of them. So I will show you more about that, tell you more about that, and show you more. I'll explain it further when we get to that giveaway. So thank you very much. I've got some yarn. So a couple of weeks ago, weekends ago, I was very lucky to attend 2 classes, one on a Saturday, one on a Sunday, with the lovely Claire Devine, who is a fabulous knitwear designer. You have likely definitely heard of her, but if not, I'll put links to everything in the show notes. And she is quite the traveller. She is from South Africa, was living in Edinburgh for quite a while, and is now living on the east coast of Australia. So she is in Australia, but she flew over to Perth for these classes, and they were held at the Calico and Ivy knitting and fabric shop, which is such a beautiful shop. It's not close to me at all, so I rarely go, but it's beautiful, and they've got a lovely area at the back with a table where the classes were held. They ordered cakes made from a local baker that were just stunning, with like Australian native flowers all over them to decorate. It was such a lovely experience. I took 2 of their classes, as I said. One was the shawl toolkit class. So Claire is Knit Share Love on Instagram and Ravelry. So I had the shawl class, I think that was the Sunday one. And then the Saturday one was sort of knitting SOS, how to fix common issues and errors and such. So I had a great time. I think in terms of the level I was at compared to perhaps what the class was pitched at was kind of even. So I did definitely learn some things, and it was wonderful. But it was also good. I wasn't stressed and thinking that I had lots to pick up the time. So it was really lovely to reinforce things I knew. I learned some new bind-offs, like the, what was it, Icelandic bind-off, Icelandic sewn bind-off. I still have to practice that one again, but that's really great. So in the Knitting SOS class, we had to bring 2 samples with us, and then we did things to, you know, make mistakes and learn ways to pick up stitches and fix, you know, where a decrease should have been, putting it in, you know, all those sorts of things. So that was really good. And then, yeah, the shawl one, we looked at different cast-ons, different types of the garter tab cast-on. And then through that, we then knit a little triangular, like a mini shawl, essentially. Something happened to mine and I dropped a stitch somewhere and it went wonky, so I didn't bother keeping it. I just kept going in the class, so then we could get to the the bind off. So I could practice those. So yeah, really great. It's really lovely because I hear people talking about attending classes, you know, at knitting events and festivals and workshops and such, and there's not always things like that held here in Perth. You know, the population of Perth we're a city, and we're, I want to say 2 million, you know, so we're not tiny, but, you know, we don't have a lot of people here to sustain regular classes, but it's so lovely when they could come. It's especially lovely to meet Claire because she and I have met online through her design business and me having the podcast. So it was just lovely to meet in person. She was as lovely as I would have imagined, if not more. And it was great to just be able to catch up and actually speak to her in person. So yes, the classes were held, as I said, at Calico and Ivy. They have a huge range, well, when I say huge, they're not a huge building, but a very varied range of yarn, including a lot of hand-dyed yarns, some other commercial yarns like, you know, Rowan and things like that. Quince & Co as well. I haven't used those, but it's great that they're available there. But I found a couple that I really liked. Oh, excuse me, leaning over. Now, this was caked very beautifully in the shop, and then Smudge got a hold of it. Thank goodness didn't break the yarn, but yeah, pulled it apart. So yes, I was at Calico and Ivy, which has a great selection of yarns, including a lot of hand-dyed yarns, and I got these two. Now, as exciting as yarn is, this is my most exciting purchase. It's the Moon issue of Pom Pom Mag. I've never seen Pom Pom Mag in person before, so you know, I've seen it on lots of podcasts. I follow them on Instagram, and this Moon issue, if you are on Instagram or many other podcasts, you will no doubt have seen that this was very popular because especially this amazing jumper sweater and the absolute beautiful model on the front of the cover there. There was, you know, a lot of applauding of diversity in terms of the woman being black, being an older woman, having grey hair. So much yes. So much yes. And I've mentioned many times before, and you'll know, I love the Moon. Love the Moon. So when I heard there was a Moon issue of Pom Pom originally, I was just going to buy the digital version because I didn't think I could get a paper one. So glad I held off because I thought I won't buy it till I'm ready to use it because the digital one's available anytime. But so happy, got shiny. So yeah, very, very happy with this. I won't do a review or anything like that because several other podcasts have already done it. I'm sure you can seek them out. But yeah, all the designs have Moon in the title, and it's just lovely to look through. So yeah, that's it, the Moon Rocks issue, that's all the contributors. Just lovely to look through. There are patterns in here that I would like to knit. For example, well, the cover sweater, the eShell. I've never done colour work in my life, so I'm likely not to start on this. However, next year I do want to knit Smudge a winter jumper, a little doggy jumper. Probably next year, depending if we think he's stopped growing. But I thought, what a great thing to practice on, some colour work, because, you know, I mean, I guess you could still make it too tight and therefore it'd be too small. But anyway, we shall see. Oh, and this one is beautiful where you embroider sky things. Sky things. Very descriptive. It's called the Sky Map. Things from the sky. So yes, I was so pleased and excited to do that. And yeah, lovely experience at Calico and Ivy and with Claire Devine. If you have a chance to attend knitting workshops or knitting classes and it's within your means, then I would highly recommend it. My final acquisition I just have to show you. I came home quite late the other day. I had a work event, then I went to a meditation class, which is a lovely way to de-stress and decompress. When I got home, on the side of my bed was a rose. This is a few days ago. And the Yarnder team wrote, "She loves me." Oh, how beautiful is that? It was so lovely to come home to. She'd already gone to bed, which is unusual because she's more of a night owl, but she had a very busy day. So she'd gone to bed, so I just came into the room. This rose, I'm not sure what variety it is, but it's got such a strong perfume. So I walked into the bedroom and it just smelled of rose. And this was so gorgeous. Sorry. Yes, I had to show you. I'm very lucky. Okay, so I'm going to now announce the prizes. So if you are not interested, please feel free to sign off here. Have a lovely day. If you did enter or you're just interested, then let's get underway. So the first lot of prizes we'll talk about is from the knit-along that we finished at the end of October, which was the Jump on the Bandwagon knit-along or make-along. This was great fun where people could, you know, knit a really popular pattern they'd just never gotten around to. It was a great thread to look through. So the thread's locked now, but feel free to go and have a look and see lots of the great projects and lots of patterns you will know probably a lot about. So there were 168 posts. That was finished objects, whips and chatter. It was all in together. The first prize is a lovely bag made for us by Autumn, who's Cottington, friend of the podcast, and she will be sending the prize straight to the winner. So here is a picture of the lovely bag now. So random number generator was used to pick all of these winners. That was post number 140. The winner is Cthulhu Loves Me, Jen from California. Yay! Jen knit a boxy sweater. I think it was her first one and it looked amazing. So congratulations, Jen. Get in touch with me. Give me your postal address. I'll pass that on to Autumn and she will get that in the mail for you. We have another bag. I've got this one here. This is from the Silver Shed USA. And this is a sock monkey bag. How cute is it? It's a little button print and then lovely red and white polka dots. I've also put a nice tea bag in here, relaxation. I think we could all do with more relaxation, don't you? So that's great, it's got a lovely handle. And the winner of that was number 166, Bibi Mouse, Barbara in Germany. So Bibi Mouse is the person who sent me the lovely reinforcing thread. So obviously karma has come back to you. So definitely all random number generator. There was nothing, no funny business. That was all just as it came up. So Barbara, I have your address because you sent me that lovely parcel, so I will send that off to you. So Barbara's post 166, she had knitted several things, but that particular post was chatting and talking to some other participants, so that's lovely. I really like having that, you know, previous knit-alongs and make-alongs, we might have a whip and chatter thread and then a finished object thread. Both are lovely ways of doing it, but it's lovely to have it all in one post. You can comment on people's objects when they finish them, so that's lovely. So next prize in our bag, we have this Japanese Notions pouch. So I got this when I was in Japan. Beautiful purple and the traditional fabric there. It's a drawstring. It's got things in it, so it does close over. This here is a postcard from a Perth designer, Tall Rabbit. And this is a numbat, a Western Australian animal. And this one in the middle is knitting. So there's that. And also from Japan, and they've fallen off, there's a plastic wheel in here. These little sheet clips, so you press the sheet's head and it opens up, so little clips you can use. So those are going to post number 45, Gal Knits Yarn, who is Chelsea from Oklahoma in the USA. Yay! So Chelsea, she is one half of the Gal and Kitten Knitting podcast. That's one of my favourite podcasts. It's really fun. They're both lovely, relatively new knitters, but you wouldn't know it, the things that they're making, but it's really lovely to hear their experience with knitting. Gal knit a sockhead slouch hat, which you can guess I quite like that pattern too. So yes, Gal, send me your address and I'll get your prizes in the mail for you. The last prize winner we have is not on that piece of paper. It's on this piece of paper. That was the Flexi Flips needles in the 2mm size. Now, as I said last episode, I have used these for about 30 minutes and they just weren't for me. So if the winner, who I'm going to announce now, if you feel they won't be for you, or if they're not something you want, or you have an issue with them being knitted previously, hopefully no one does, do let me know. So without further ado, post number 43, Saratoga Knits, Lisa from Marblehead. Yay! Also of the Knitting by the Sea podcast. So Lisa knit the Barley hat by Tin Can Knits. It's another lovely hat pattern. I haven't tried that one actually. I should maybe add that to my hat repertoire. But yes, Lisa, I may have your address from previous Christmas card swaps, but please get in touch anyway when you've seen this and perhaps give me your address just in case. What you doing? You're very full, darling, aren't you? Yes. Yes. There you go. So yes, thank you very much to everyone who entered in that knit along. And we now have one more prize to give away. Smudge is having a good look at it. He didn't touch it, so if the winner has a dog allergy or anything, nothing has been touched, just the box. So this was the Mystery Lace Club kit by Fiberific. So that Fiberific is an Australian company, and she has a monthly Mystery Lace Club knit, so I'll link to everything in the show notes. I did last month as well. It was last month, but last episode is what I mean. And in the kit, try not to do that, a beautiful yarn. Oh, Smudge wants to have a look. It's not food, darling. Beautiful yarn, beads you'll need, and the number of stitch markers you need, and pattern to a beautiful shawl. This one is by Boo Knits. There's a different shawl designer every month with the yarn. And it's a beautiful kit. You get everything that you need to knit it. So, using random number generator from post 2 to 21, the winner was number 11, who is Christy WN, Christy from Exmouth in WA. Yay! And the prompt for that giveaway was you had to tell me something that had once been a mystery to you. And so there were lots of really interesting things people were talking about, mostly in relation to their knitting and crochet journey. And Christy was talking about how something that was a mystery to her was the different terminology between US and UK crochet terms. So I thought that was very interesting because it can be, if you read a pattern thinking you've got the UK or the US and it's actually the wrong way around, you get a very different result. So yes, Christy, please send me your address and I will get this kit into the mail. As I said, I'll put a link to Fiberific and the monthly yarn club if you would like to take up that subscription for yourself as well. Thank you to our prize sponsor. Okay, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. The light is pretty much gone here now, so I am very glad I have those studio lights. I'm just finishing off. Can you see it? I don't want to tip it out. No, not going to tip it. Turmeric tea, which is lovely. It's in my Osaka mug. Oh, it's red. That was accidental. Just meant to be. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been lovely to see you. Please do come and have a chat on Ravelry or underneath here at YouTube, depending on where you are watching this. I will see you again very soon. Hopefully, maybe with some Christmas vlogs, so Vlogmas. I don't think there'll be any way I can do every day. Would you like to be on Vlogmas? I bet you would. We're not going to be able to put up the real Christmas tree. Well, not real, we don't have a real one, but the normal Christmas tree, because you'll chew it, won't you? Yeah, you will. So yes, definitely not daily Vlogmas, but I'd like to put up a few Vlogmas videos. So hopefully you'll see me more regularly. Oh, Smudge is biting my feet now. That's lovely. That's a good time to properly sign off. Have a lovely day, whatever it is you're doing. Thank you for being here. Happy crafting. Bye-bye. Ow.